So, welcome to the Life Career Roadmap YouTube channel. And today we have a special guest, Anderson Salazar. So, welcome, Anderson.
Hey, how are you?
I'm
Thank you
good,
for having
thank
me.
you. Welcome. So, Anderson, I called you before Anderson in my English version, and now I can call you Anderson in my Portuguese version.
Yeah.
So, Anderson, tell us, my first question, or my two first questions, where you come from and what is your professional background?
I come from Brazil. I was a sales manager at a company called Lexmark International. They produce printers and software for document management.
Mm,
So I was working there for 14 years.
14 years.
Yeah. It was an American company. It was sold to a Chinese company.
Mm.
And yeah, I was part of the layoff.
Anderson, which part of Brazil are you from?
I'm from south of Brazil, a city called Porto Alegre. It's
Yeah.
like Perth, 2 million people.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I was living in São Paulo for 6 years before coming to Perth.
So you
It
had
was
a
a,
migration. So you had a migration before coming to Perth then.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I quite used it to be out of the comfort zone.
So Anderson, let's go back to the time you're young and thinking, or just playing as a little boy. Um, what made you to think about going to into sales? So as your background in business and management, right? So what made you to decide to do what you do? So have you thought this when you were a kid
That,
or
that's
just came?
interesting. That's interesting question because I started as a technician, electronic technician. So I started fixing computers.
Okay.
And it was my first job. So I worked there for a few years. And I, I was promoted to a logistic manager
Mm-hmm.
and later on, like, uh, like branch manager as well. So I was naturally going to sales, and I always like to understand better the technology, and so I started to do projects, and after a few years working supporting sales teams, I started to manage them, and then I had my own company which I sold. I was 20 something
Yeah.
or maybe 30, I don't remember.
Was before or after you doing your MBA?
uh, no, I sold my company. Actually, I did a like you would be like my first degree was a diploma as an electrical technician.
Okay.
So I start to work, and I worked for a few years without doing college. So when I sold my company, I was starting my degree in administration.
Mm-hmm.
So I finished my administration degree. I was working at Lexmark already.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my company before having a degree in
Okay.
administration.
Mm-hmm.
So then I finished the administration degree. Straight away, I went to an MBA, a Master of Administration, major in marketing, back in Brazil. And then I stayed working for 14 years at Lexmark International. So when I left Lexmark, I always had the desire to live abroad. So I used to go to US for tourism or for businesses as well. So I decided I'm gonna do a master abroad and get a better English. My English wasn't good. I think it's not good yet. Still
Well,
improving.
you are talking here,
Yeah,
right? What do you mean
yeah. I
about it's
can I
not
can
good?
communicate. Yeah, that's true. I can communicate. And then so I decided to do this master abroad, and I wish to give my kids the opportunity to learn English early, so they don't lose opportunities like I did for not having English.
Okay.
So I would do this master in US. The first plan was US. And then my wife has a friend here. She was living here for 14 years. And she said, come to Perth. It's a beautiful city and very family friendly. So we started to do some research, and there was some advantage, like the currency was better. At that time, seems to be easier to stay if we decide to stay. And there were some incentives from the government as well, like the school fees for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we decided to another interesting information. The number of golf courses here is huge.
So you got you like
So yeah, the real reason was because the number of golf
golf course. That's a good one.
yeah. Yeah, I mentioned that because there is a link with my master here. I did my research here on golf tourism.
Oh.
So yeah, to finish my master, I did a research on golf tourism. Unfortunately, it was a bad timing because I finished my master. I went to Brazil for Christmas, came back, and the COVID started. And then tourism was killed for 2 years and a half. I was trying to combine something with photography and tourism, maybe bring people from abroad to play golf here and maybe photograph them. Yeah.
Okay.
And then COVID
It
messed up a
started. So
bit.
let's go back to this. So you came to Australia with your kids. Which age were they when they came to Australia?
3 and 5 years old.
Okay, so
So
the kind of age that you can, you have much control about what is going on around.
yeah.
Let's say this way. So,
Yeah.
Anderson, like did you plan everything? Like you decide to come to Australia, you research about everything, include the golf course that they would have here. So, how much from the plan that you have planned with your wife to come to Australia has met the criteria that you had before or things that you planned before? Everything went as you thought, or of course, COVID came in the middle of the way. But regarding planning coming to Australia initially and arriving in Australia, how your plan was then met with everything that you thought?
I think we achieved all the goals we had at the beginning. The
Okay.
problem was we changed it along the way because
Okay.
we didn't come thinking to stay.
Temporary.
The main goals were get my English because I came almost without English 6 years
Okay.
ago. So I had to study 4 months of general English and 2 months of academic English to be able to start the master.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And so the main objective was get the English, get the master done,
Go back
and
home.
improve my employability back in
Okay. Thank
Brazil.
you. Okay.
Okay, so that was one goal. The
So
second goal
done.
was giving the opportunity to the kids to learn English early
Done.
and have this second language much earlier than me. And so done as well. But with
When
the
things
time,
change.
you get used very easily to good things, and this country it's very nice to live. It's safe, and so we decide to stay.
Mm.
And then things start to get a bit complicated because when I finished my master, they changed the rules to apply for a skill visa. So
Mm-hmm.
they dropped the age limits from 50 to 45, and I was 46 at that time.
Mm.
So I'm out of the track. I can't apply for a skill visa anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There are there will be a few opportunities to be sponsored, but must be like a management position, high salary. So it's not easy to find this kind of job as a foreign and without visa. So it's very hard. And then we we almost went home, but the kids were very happy here. So we decided, okay, let's try another plan. So we made another plan. So my wife had to study 2 years of community service to be able to apply for PR.
Okay.
So she finished her studies. She did 400 hours for free of work placement, and she applied for the skill assessment. So we are waiting for the skill assessment to be able to apply for PR. So
Okay.
we haven't done everything yet.
So yeah,
So
yeah,
we're
on the
still
way.
ongoing.
Still.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your wife's background in Brazil?
She's a physiotherapist back in Brazil.
Physiotherapist.
That was interesting thing because when I finished my master, physiotherapy went out of the shortage list.
Mm-hmm.
Even the government was predicting in 5 years, I don't remember exactly how many years, I think it's 3 or 5, they were predicting a shortage, but they removed from the list.
And now it's on the list
So,
again.
and now it's in the list again. But it was that time was out. So she, even if she did
Qualification recognition.
recognition, yeah, so wouldn't help much. So she decided to do community service course to be able to apply.
Oh,
Now physiotherapy is back in the list,
okay.
but yeah, she might validate the diploma in the future. But now we are stick to the plan to get the PR, and then after that,
Yeah.
maybe study again, whatever.
Yeah, that's right. So, and in regarding your kids, so they came as 3 and 5. Now has
Mm-hmm.
been 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah,
Very,
six, six and a
uh,
half.
so they are teenagers
Yeah,
of
my oldest one just went to the high school.
Okay.
He's very good at drawing, and
Mm.
so we enroll him in a GATE program, a gift talent.
Gift to talent. Yeah.
Yeah, so he got a position at John Curtin Art College in
Yeah.
Fremantle,
Mm-hmm.
which was we are very proud of him because it was 250 kids for 20
Like
places,
that.
and he
Yeah.
got one.
So
And
nice.
this is one of the things that might be useful tip for those who are thinking to come with families. Think about where you're gonna put them to study,
Yeah.
because, for example, I came as a master student. So one of the incentives from the government was the school fees for the kids, but we weren't able to choose the school.
Okay.
We just nominate four, and they pick one for you. So
Mm.
what we did, we decided to live in a suburb which all the public schools are good. So we nominate four, and doesn't matter which one they would choose, for us would be good.
Okay.
And of course, good schools are in the more expensive suburbs, but paid at the end paid off well, because we didn't invest anything else for him to apply for this GATE program. He did everything with only with what he learned at
With
school,
talents. Yeah.
and so he got the position.
That's
So
so
choose
nice.
well your suburb to give good schools.
Your
So
kids.
if
Yeah.
you are thinking about your kids.
And
Yeah.
they are well adapted here. So if you'd come to them, say right now, hey, you are moving back to Brazil, what they would tell you? I say, oh no, daddy.
Yeah, at the moment they are missing a lot Brazil because we haven't been there since January 2020. So they
Okay.
are missing a lot the family. Uh, of
But one
course,
thing
if
is
it's
missing the family, right? The other thing is missing to go back and live there. Well, how is that?
yeah, I think it would be hard to say that to them. Yeah, it wouldn't be an easy thing.
Okay. So, Anderson, as you said that the first two parts of your plan or the total plan that you have initially to come here to study and complete your master's, giving opportunity to your kids, you achieved that. So,
Yeah,
um, and then you had to create another plan to suit you guys to stay. But let's
yeah.
go back for the first plan. So even if you had everything ticking the boxes as achieved, um, did you face any roadblock leaving, coming to Australia, getting to know things or helping your kids to go through things? How was your experience in that sense?
Uh, I would say it was good. I don't complain about my experience for long of these years, but there's it many things work very differently here.
Yeah.
Even small things like rent a house
Mm-hmm.
is different.
Yeah.
Because in Brazil, I came from Brazil. If you find a house that you are interested, you apply and say, "Look, I want to rent this house," and they're gonna say, "Okay, thank you. Here is the contract. You sign the contract, and it's done." Here is not like that. You need to apply. Many people apply, and they will decide which one is better or not. Some people put more money on the table, so it's different. And so we had to learn all this nuance
Yes.
of life. And yeah, but we had we experienced a few challenges at schools as well
Mm-hmm.
because the behavior is very different for
Yeah.
us. um, I wouldn't say it's for everyone, but for us, when we arrived, we found very strange kids playing fighting all the time,
Mm-hmm.
even uh, girls and boys, doesn't matter, they fight. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a bit shocking for us, the kids' behavior. And we are like a very peaceful family, so we don't like much fights. And
Yeah.
so we struggle a bit with this kind of thing as well. But yeah,
Did your
overall, I think we had a good time.
did your kids also struggle to go to school and bring sandwich for lunch, like my son?
Yeah, it was interesting because my wife is very concerned about health and good food and blah blah blah. And I can't say I'm the same. If I have something just to eat, and that's fine, whatever it is. But she kept the Brazilian style, like food, real food for
Stand up,
lunch.
a meal, not a
Yeah, a
sandwich.
meal. So few kids that were, what are you eating? Blah blah blah. So it was object
Weird.
of a bit of bullying at the beginning as well, but they took well, like they
Okay.
managed well. Yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, like things like that, small things sometimes quite challenging because you need to explain to them. Oh, okay, you're not gonna take a sausage roll because it's not as healthy as what you're taking. So
Yes. So, and the question now is regarding your profession. So you came with years of experience, like having an MBA and have been working in international companies. So coming to Australia as a temporary, just to do a business, a master's, and come back home and have your employability going higher.
mhm.
But then stepping back because you stayed and COVID came. So how was the situation for you finding employment? Because now you need to stay and you need to pay the bills and you have a family. So how was that transition for you?
It's very challenging.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So I think I've made a mistake during my studies, which is, I think, with great impact, a big impact, not great, but big impact in my situation after studies, because when when you come to when I came to Perth and people was, oh, what are you doing? And I told them, no, I'm studying, I'm doing a master. And a lot of people say, oh, a master, a master. And I thought, oh, that's relevant here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I misunderstood what they want to say, because actually it's not the majority of people do a master here. Like, it's not like Brazil. In Brazil, if you have one master, maybe you are not as competitive in the market, in the job market, because people have two, and it's much more competitive, the market, the job market. So, and what was the mistake? I didn't do internship during my course.
Mm.
So I was working in a hotel. I found this job, and I was doing my research on Gulf tourism, and I had decided that I would do something with tourism and golf, because I was very into golf at that time. And I found this job opportunity in a hotel in a big group. It's called IHG. It's one of the biggest hospitality group in the world. And it was as a kitchen hand. So I'm gonna take. So I'm gonna work as a kitchen hand, and I'm going to be there and see how it goes. It was useful because they have a great iLearn platform. So I have, even as a steward, I had the access to this platform, so I could study a lot about tourism and how this hospitality industry works, and was useful for me as well for my research. But I was asking to do an internship in the marketing department, and they postponed for 2 semesters. And I was hoping to do it. And in my last semester, they decided, oh, we are not doing. There is another person coming, blah blah blah. So no internship there.
Mm.
And I hadn't time to get another one.
Mm.
So I finished my course, and I couldn't have an opportunity to do internship after the studies, because it's not allowed. So if you're not studying, they need to pay you.
Yeah.
So I think I missed the opportunity to get this local experience. And this is what is the more valuable here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a local experience. So the tip is, get a local experience while we are studying.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are studying engineer, go to an engineer company and work for free, because it's gonna pay off when you finish your studies. You have a local experience. You can tell people, oh, okay, I'm finished my studies. I have local experience. It's gonna be much easier to get a job.
Okay.
And even better, you might stay in the same job.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So yeah, it
So,
is what it is. So I didn't get this internship or local experience during my course.
mm-hmm.
And when I finished my course, I started to apply for positions. And as a temporary resident, without local experience. And also I was trying to switch my career from sales to marketing because I did my Master of Commerce major in marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't say I have previous experiences
Okay.
or local experience. So it was very hard.
Okay.
So was when I decided to apply for jobs in my previous career in sales.
And you got some job in there.
Yeah, exactly. So I had the opportunity to do the Kaleidoscope program, which was amazing experience. So I got lots of good advice from that. So I applied for a job, but this is another thing in Perth. I don't know about Sydney, Melbourne, if is the same, but Perth is very parochial.
Mm-hmm.
So it's much more about who you know and who recommend you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I have this friend. So she introduced me to another friend of her. So I had this phone call with this lady. She was very helpful, and she introduced me to a headhunter. And so I called to this headhunter, and we had like what's supposed to be a 15 minutes talk and end up almost 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So
A
she
good
got
sign
me.
always.
Yeah, it was good. So yeah, we talked for 2 hours, and she found a place for me in an IT company here. So we did a contract, 6 months contract of experience, and this contract started in October.
Mm-hmm.
So October 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember, the COVID really hit Perth in February 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Before that was almost without COVID. It was
Mm-hmm.
normal life, isolated, but normal life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had this opportunity to work in this IT company for a short period. End up didn't go well in terms of sales because it was 6 months and COVID hit. I couldn't visit customers. I wasn't able to have a face-to-face to meetings to develop relationship,
Yeah.
and as you may know, in corporate world, it's all about relationship and
Everywhere is a relationship, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
But if you want to sell something, people need to trust you. You need to get to know you,
Yeah,
buy from you.
exactly. So yeah, so I worked there for 6 months, and then we didn't renovate the contract, and then I decided to live with photography, which has been a passion for 25 years.
Yeah, I must say
So
yeah, that if you see my photos on my profiles on social media, taken by Anderson. And I said to him
yeah.
when I was away from home, and I said to him, I left the key for you, so in a secret space, and you can get in the house and find the wall that you need for us to take the photo. When I came home, the garage door was open, and he set his studio inside of the garage. With all the lightnings and all the panels and everything. And I was, whoa, I took the whole session inside of my garage in between walls. It was very fascinating. I was very surprised. It was a nice surprise. So
Yeah.
well done to do this. So, and you just, because you set yourself as a business now, working with photography and doing portraits and also working in real estate. Is that right?
Yeah, I do a lot of real estate. I work as a contractor for a big agency here,
Mm-hmm.
which is the biggest in Perth for real estate. So this one keep the cash flow, and
Yes.
I have my private customers as well, like you.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
so I do. I like to call myself as a commercial photographer. I'm
Yes.
not only wedding photography or family photography. Or
Okay.
I like to photograph different subjects. I like variety. So
Oh,
sometimes I'm photographing products, sometimes I photograph people or corporate events. In a
mhm.
few weeks, I have a Google corporate event to photograph.
We'll be
In a
there.
few weeks, I have another wedding. Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah,
it's a bit challenging when you think about promoting, because if you go to my Instagram, it's like a
everything.
mess.
It's not niche. Okay, in business,
Yeah, but
normally
I
people
like it.
say, yeah, people say you need to niche your target audience, right? So to be able to
Yeah.
attract more people, but you have been attracting a lot. So, uh, but what I want to take here is the fact that you didn't uh, said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. It's better go home. Like you said, almost gone, you went home, but then decide to run your business in Australia. And that's something that last week I was talking about in one of my Instagram lives is you being able to work in Australia is a sole trader, someone who can open
Mm-hmm.
a business or you are the business, right? So, and you took this opportunity to do something that is your passion, that is photography. And I remember you said you always wanted to leave working as a photographer or doing your photography, your art. So now you have an opportunity, of course, having all this pressure that you have a family, you are living in a different country, you are not permanent yet. But tell us more about your decision to set up your business here in WA and make your means to pay the bills.
It's interesting because people might don't know how easy is to start a business in Australia. You go to a website and you just create your ABN,
Mm-hmm.
and it is another thing. You don't need to pay anyone to do it. You can do by yourself on the right website, because if you go to Google and search for ABN application,
There are
you
many
receive a
private
lot of links.
websites. Yeah,
People to trying to sell you the service to open the ABN, and you
that's
don't need
free.
that. You just
You don't
go
need to
straight.
pay.
It's free.
Yeah.
So actually, I started my ABN, which would be like in Brazil, CNPJ, that's a
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
company number, in 2017, the first year that I was here.
So maybe you had
So
something like, oh, why not? Huh?
yeah, yeah, because I was doing some sports photography at that time, and I used to photograph for a French company called Mur. They had the worldwide contract with Uber Eats. So
Okay.
I have been photographing restaurants and uh, bars for Uber Eats since 2017.
Oh, nice.
Uh, yeah, so it's very easy to open your own business here. It might be a bit challenging to sell your business, like knocking doors and struggle with language and with their relationships. But it's all about who you know and who can recommend you. It's
And doing a
like,
good work,
for
right? To
example,
be able to be recommended, like someone referring you. You need to do a good work.
yeah, exactly. For example, I wasn't thinking to do weddings, and probably is the industry in photography, the best payers are the brides and grooms, because it's a lot of work, and this kind of service pays well. So I wasn't thinking to do, but I have a friend who has a friend, and she was about to getting married, and she said, "Oh, Anderson, I know your photography. Can you do her wedding?" And I said, "I'm unsure." Blah blah blah. And she recommended me and said, "I believe in your work. I know your work. I know you're gonna do a good thing." So yeah, so I did that first job through a recommendation. And then I did, and the bride was very happy. So I got another one. And so it's all about who recommend
Okay, word of
you
mouth.
and things getting, yeah, word of mouth works a lot here.
Yes. Everywhere it's a
So
good network,
yeah,
right? It's the question of people knowing you, and in your industry, it's very important that people have a good service so they can refer you because they had a good product or service. So it's very needed in your field, let's say this way, in photography, videography, that you
yeah,
like
it's
the
it's
product.
it's it's well needed, but very competitive as well.
Yeah,
So it's needed, but very competitive as well.
that's right. That's right. So that's why you need to be very good and also delivering a good services in there. And Anderson, let
Yeah.
me ask you something. Like now that you are here waiting for the skills assessment and all the process for your permanent visa. So you have been through struggles uh, getting a different course of your life here. What suggestions or advice would you give to someone planning to come to Australia with the same thought that you had? It's just temporary, and later on, let's stay. So, would you give any advice or anything that people would get prepared for the turn on their plans?
Uh, so I would say for those who are thinking to stay for a bit and go home, it's gonna be hard to go home.
After
Oh.
experiencing everything in here.
Yeah, yeah, it's very nice to live here, but it's also very expensive.
Mhm. Yes.
So I would say be prepared with money. So plan well. If you don't have a good savings, be prepared to work hard at the beginning.
Mhm. That's right.
Uh, it's not it's not difficult to find work, but it's difficult to find good work.
Mhm.
So you can find work to work as a kitchen hand at any time, or whatever, construction, driving. You can find. So the first advice: be prepared. If you are not with good savings, come and start work straight away.
Okay.
And another thing is be prepared to, how can I say, uh, to bend.
Flexible.
It's you need to prepare to be flexible. You know, I didn't mention, but before this working experience in my field, when I came from Brazil, I was trying to find a job in marketing. I couldn't find, so I had my drive license with 2 years already. So I thought, I might do some driving to get money.
Mhm.
So I started to do Uber driving for a few months. Then COVID hit, so I had no one to carry more.
Yes.
So even that flexible work that kept the paying the bills while I was looking for a real job. So even that killed with COVID.
Mhm.
So I end up washing dishes in mine sites.
Ah,
Mining industry in Western Australia is huge. They are always looking for people.
mm,
So I applied, I got a job. So because I had the local experience as a steward in the hotel.
yes.
So that experience helped me to get a job during the COVID in mine sites. But it's a hard job. It was 12-hour shift for 2 weeks, 1 week at home, and go back to the mine, 2 weeks, 12 hours from midnight to midday. It was hard job,
Mhm.
but was good because I didn't know much about the mining industry before.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the mine sites. I understood how the mining industry here works as well. So I would say for those who are thinking to come, be prepared to be flexible because you never know what you're gonna need to do
Mm-hmm.
to pay the bills.
That's right.
Uh, it's not easy, and it's much more complicated than in your country that you know people and you speak the language and you have much less barriers than when we are in a other country with different language. We
Mm-hmm.
are we are we always will have the accent. Doesn't matter how good your English, and be proud of that. At the beginning when we arrived, we have this lady. She was Canadian. Unfortunately, she passed away last year. She was lovely, and when we arrived, and we were she was our neighbor, and we are talking about language, and I was telling her, I'm concerned because my English, blah blah blah. And she said, "Look, you speak Portuguese, you speak a bit of Spanish, and you are learning English. It's three languages. Most of the people here speaks just one. So we are ahead of them."
Yeah, you are.
So of course you have accent. You might struggle to say some words or might struggle to explain some ideas. But at the end of the day, if you try hard, they're gonna understand you. And don't be ashamed because it's part of life. You had the opportunity to learn early, and don't let this put you down, you know,
Mhm.
and don't miss opportunities because that. Don't be afraid to take opportunities because you're English. At the end of the day, if it doesn't work, what's the problem? Okay, didn't work. It's
Mhm.
because the English, because whatever.
Mhm.
Try again, you
Okay.
know? Yeah, so,
And
yeah.
and in the case of newcomers that are here, because as you, many people come to do a master degree or a PhD, and we know there is a pathway for them to stay, right? Some come with the intention really to stay. Uh, but the idea or the naive idea that they will do the master's degree and then soon after they get a job because they believe the master you increase their opportunity. So what are your thoughts? I know you have very specific thoughts about that.
Unless you are in a field that is very unlikely to get out of the shortage list, you might go for the master and, as I said before, work in your field during your studies, and you might be fine to find a job at the end. But in general, I would say find something that is to study, cheap to study, and quick, and get your PR.
Mhm.
And then, okay, you are a permanent resident. You can pay as a local, which is much, much more cheaper than as an international student. So yeah, I could spend maybe 30% of what I spent doing my master here, and could be with my PR. If I did like a baker course, like 2 years, get the PR, and then I can do a PhD, whatever.
Mhm.
So I know it's a bit uh, controversial, my opinion, but
I know, I
yeah,
know. That's why I want to
I
ask
would,
you.
yeah, it's if you want to stay, come and do the shortest, shortest
Guts.
way to get the PR.
Okay.
Get done, and then you plan, okay, I don't need to pay health insurance anymore. And people, I know it happens. People get jobs with a temporary visa, but it's not every job. Most of the job applications, the first questions are, what
Is your visa?
is your visa?
That's right.
And when does it expire?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And many of them, it's you are killed already.
Yeah.
You are out.
The main thing here
They
is
they don't say that. They don't assume that, but it's reality.
it's a reality because when you think about
So
an organization employing someone for 3 months, 6 months, when they need a long run, if you think about it as a business, it's an investment.
yeah,
It's
I'm not criticizing.
yeah.
It's
And
it's
then
part of the game. They are running a business. They need to
right,
think in long
long
term.
term, yeah,
Even if they hire someone now, and maybe this person, for example, I applied for many positions in IT companies. Few of them call me, and the first question, for example, one that happened, Oracle, one of the biggest software companies in the world. They called me when I applied for a job there, and oh, Anderson, you have a good experience. We'd like to discuss the role with you. Blah 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 blah. Blah. Okay, let's talk. Oh, but the first question is, what is your visa? So, and that time it was when I finished my study, I was like at least
exactly.
19 months visa ahead. So I said, look, I'm undergraduate visa, which is a visa that they don't understand. The companies, the HR people, they think it's a student visa. I don't know what's the problem. They don't understand. Yeah, but it's a student visa. No, it's a post-study visa. And I have full rights to work, no limitations. But it seems they don't believe. I don't know what is the problem. But so she said, oh, okay, but I can't go further with your application because you are not a resident or citizen. And we are not allowed to keep going with you. So I had this at least 3 times.
Okay.
And I know these companies. I know companies like Oracle, Dell. I know how hard it is to work in a commercial area. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to find people with guts to work in these areas, in these companies. And they like few months later, they still working, looking for people. So they hire people. It's a local people. Okay, they hire people. People don't stay there. So it's a way to protect your investment. Asking for a permanent residence, it is. But hiring a local or permanent resident doesn't mean it's gonna be there for 12 months.
As well, it's another risk. So is and it's
Yeah.
I believe it's all the myth and misconception about visas, and of course, there is not much information about the 100,000 types of visas that we have in Australia, and doesn't make any easier for the employers that want to employ someone because they don't understand. So, and
Exactly.
it's better for them to protect themselves and not get in trouble, right? Than because they don't know about anything. And that's one of the reasons also.
And the word for this is laziness.
That is a way. But if you remember, if you know now in Australia, with the shortage of um, uh, good employees, right? Like the people that are skilled, there is a shortage for everything, and including the
Yeah.
analyzing and going ahead. So it's much easier to get someone who is ready than getting a time to do a research and think about. So probably an organization, a big organization with a very capable HR would have someone just understanding about visas and opportunities. And we can say nowadays there are many big organizations investing in bringing people that can only work part-time, or they are in a graduate visa or a student visa that can work part-time, to absorb these people. It's now they are investing.
Yeah.
We see more and more companies bringing programs to bring people, especially with a gap in their careers, right? To reconnect them with their careers and bring them back to the market, because they are there waiting. They don't have jobs. So it's a clever way of thinking. Let's bring these people.
And
And
if you don't have people, and if you don't have people, hire two.
well, so like that's
If
for every
people can
job.
work 20 hours, okay, one work 2 days and a half, another one work another 2 days and a half. You
Yeah.
help two people and you solve your problem.
Yeah, there are
And
other
at the
ways
end
to
of,
do it, right? I believe so. So it's a
yeah,
question of
exactly.
education of the employers and the businesses, how they can resolve their problems, right? But one of the things also that employers are looking for is skills that even if you go through university, you don't know show you cannot show. So if the research that they have done late last year is that employers are looking for skills, and many of them, they are called soft skills. They are not soft skills, they are hard skills, because you learn them and they're part of you, and people don't show.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing is the communication. When they don't know how to communicate, how they can contribute for that organization. So it's a lack of both sides not knowing how to tackle
Yeah,
this. Yeah. So you
yeah.
have,
Communication, it's a very, a very important skill.
that's right.
If you
So
don't have it, you are in trouble.
yeah, and it's both sides, because people don't communicate you from the other side, and you don't know how to communicate your side. So you get into trouble. And I remember when I was looking for a job a long time ago, and is going to an interview. You know everything, right? That you have done, you have experience, and then you go in front of someone, even if the interview is in your own language, talking about the perspective of newcomers. It's you get nervous. Imagine yourself going to an interview in English. It's a double, triple of nervousness
Yes,
that
of
you can
course.
get. So the communication is lost there, or broken. So it sometimes takes us a while to get there and feel that confidence that you can show what you do. And it's practice. It's practice. So for you now,
Yeah.
for doing what you do with photography, you are more confident to sell your service than when you started, right? So it's much easier for you
Yeah.
now to show your
But
service. Hmm? Yeah,
but
go.
in this regard, I think I have an interesting point of view about this, because fortunately, I all my professional experience were long term. Like I worked for a company. My first real job, when I got the my electronic
Electronic,
technician
yeah. Uh-huh.
diploma. Yeah. So I got a job and I stayed for that in that company for 7 years. And after that, I opened my company. I had my company for a few years, and then I went to Lexmark. So I hadn't had the opportunity to learn how to apply for jobs or how to look for jobs, because it was there all the time, and I had 3 job experience before I left Lexmark. And so for me, it was very challenging to look for jobs,
Mhm.
because I hadn't had
Yeah.
then to do it. Just I was lucky enough.
No, I no, you're not
And so
lucky enough, but I think I believe you have done everything that you could to be where you want to be. Because I remember you said you love photography and you are doing exactly what you love. Could not be paying everything with lifestyle that you wanted by now, because there are many other costs involved in that, especially applying for visas, right? So it's very costly.
yeah,
And, and maybe
yeah,
after that, getting the PR, when you feel more relaxed, that you can go ahead and then do what you want to do, as you mentioned, you may feel more comfortable then.
yeah, yeah. But what I want to say is, so when I was in the situation of looking for jobs, so I didn't know how to do it or how to behave
Yes.
on in a job interview. So in this regard, Kaleidoscope was so helpful. I was so grateful for having the opportunity to do it, the Kaleidoscope, and it's a work you are doing in your consulting business now. So to be prepared and to be prepared in your country to do that, it's one thing, and it's even more challenging to do in another country with different culture and different. So the way they look for resumes is different here than in Brazil or whatever. So uh, my tip in this regard is be prepared. Look, go and find information and be prepared for the interviews. Because when I did this job interview, which I got the job, I was prepared because I did the kaleidoscope, and so I knew what to tell them and when to tell them,
Yes, that's right.
and
And how much to tell.
and this and how much to tell, and also because of course you know already what you have done before, but you might don't know how to communicate that.
It's the
But if
structure.
you are well prepared, you are gonna train that. You go in front of the mirror and say, "Oh, I did this, I do that." Blah, 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 blah. You will be prepared when people ask you, what is the most challenging situation you had in your professional life? You don't need to think about the challenge and then think about how to communicate that. So we did already.
Yeah.
Be prepared. You have a history too,
Yes,
and
that's right.
boom.
Yeah, that's
So be prepared.
very nice
It's
strategy.
the most important thing.
Yes, it's very important because people don't realize the structure of the conversation, especially answering job interviews. Many people take so long to answer something, and they see that you need time, or they ask something and you
Yeah,
off track. You don't answer the question. So there are things that you can do to improve this, and one of them is having the preparation, the process, and practicing. As anything else in life,
yeah,
we practice, right? So, Anderson, I must say I'm very proud of you because, I have the background in business and I love business and I think like business. My role life is like I think like business. I see opportunity
mhm,
and I see that people can grow with whatever they do. But no, not everybody are able to run a business because it requires a lot of dedication, discipline, and also a big view, a big vision of what you can achieve with that business and how many people you can impact with that business. It takes a lot of you, especially like being someone working by themselves, like you and me, and you work alone most of the time, right? So you
yeah,
have to do everything. And getting a team is putting people working with you. It takes a little while until you make the money, you make the means to do all the structure that you need in business. So my hat's off to you because you did it and you are doing it. And that's why I tell you, it's not like people when they see I cannot do anything. You can provide something. If you have a skill, you can provide something, because when you go to work for someone, you are using your skills to provide a service or to someone to prepare a product, to sell a part or a service. You have skills and you have done this
yeah,
and proving that it's possible to do it. So well done. I'm very proud of
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's still. I wouldn't say my business took off already. It's still taking off.
you. Yeah, it's still, but yeah, it's
And,
doing that on the run,
and
that wow, they call in the airport.
yeah,
It's on the run, like the
it's
air.
taking off like a plane.
Yeah, it's reaching the altitude.
Yeah, so yeah, hopefully I'm gonna get there. So
I'm sure.
yeah, and also when you are not permanent resident, we always okay. how much can I grow now? Because I can assume like big commitments for January next year,
Mhm. And two things are
because
set.
I don't know if I'm gonna be here next year. I have visa until December,
And that's the
so
killer, right?
it's
They
always
don't go.
it's scary. If someone call me, oh, I have a big wedding for January, shall I
Sorry.
take it?
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna receive money from people for a wedding that I'm not sure that I'm gonna be here.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of thing kills you, every day. Things that you would like to do, but you can't do it because there is this temporary clouding over
On
you
top of your
all the
head
time.
that you don't know, you cannot make the
Yeah,
big
so
decisions yet.
it's why I said if you wanna come and do whatever you need to do to get your permanence quickly,
Yeah.
and then you are free to do whatever you want.
Okay.
I didn't choose this pathway. I choose another one, and
But
I'm
you took a little
suffering the
detour.
consequence.
You took a little detour,
Yeah,
and maybe it would be a better strategy for you
yeah,
because you have your qualifications and experience. You could get your PR through them anyway if you had done. So
yeah,
probably, and it would be a big chance for you, right? And yeah, but things happened the way it happened, and there is no way to be crying for that. Is what is the solution
yeah,
next
exactly.
step, right? So what's the next step for me to
And
do?
and it doesn't help to regret anything
No,
because it's past. It's in the past.
it's just a waste of
Gone.
energy.
Yeah, exactly.
So Anderson, and coming from south of Brazil, right? What kind of food do you miss from home? Tell me.
Ah, I miss the barbecues, of course. The
Oh,
barbecues with the family every Sunday.
Sunday, right?
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah. But I'm gonna show you something that
mm.
I'm building by myself.
In your backyard?
Yeah, I got one of these. Where is the camera?
Oh, I saw. I understand
A
now.
drum, a oil drum, and now it is already like this.
The transformation.
Transformation.
Wow, that's beautiful. You have done by yourself.
Yeah, I got a friend who has the machine to cut. So we cut
Ah,
last weekend. Now I need to put fire to burn the paint, and
ah.
then we're
Oh,
gonna have a barbecue, real
knows?
barbecue.
Who knows now if you'll be making this kind of barbecues here for sale because there is another Brazilian in America and he builds barbecues like the smokers and everything from sheet metal. So
Mm,
doing and I love to see his work. He big firms in there that he makes and I love his work. And I know he's in Brazil now, yeah, because but he's based in America and he learned how to make these big barbecues in there and love it. You know that I'm big barbecue
mm.
fan, right? So
Yeah, Americans are crazy for smokers.
yeah, they smokers are they smokers,
All
and
smokers, the
yes,
lead. Yeah.
that's right. So and for me, having the smokers like it's the best. You have the Brazilian barbecue, the traditional as well. But I believe the smokers are so versatile for things that you want to
Do like more than Yeah, I like the way the Uruguayans do.
the
The
parrilla,
Uruguayans,
the
they put
parrilla,
the wood. Yeah, they put the wood
the
and
side,
put. So that one is gonna have like a basket to burn the wood and then put
and then
the.
feed the
I don't know how they call it.
the pit. Yes, that's right. So I do that.
Yeah.
I would do with the Brazilian. I have the separate, like the base of my Brazilian barbecue. I can separate them. So I prepare one side barbecue and I keep the little, let's say the wood is burning and getting ready to
Mm-hmm.
eat. So I do.
And
And
the best thing of this kind of barbecue, you can stay the whole day
I do.
using.
So nowadays, I have five barbecues, five or six now that I play,
Wow.
and I have one just for sweets that I barbecue sweets
Oh,
too. Yeah. So
barbecue sweet. It's
yeah,
interesting.
like making our puddings, making cakes and everything because the little one
Mm.
it's specific for sweets because as you make barbecues, all the greasy stays in there. So if you barbecue um, a sweet inside of the same barbecue, you get all the taste and things.
No, no, no.
This one is
Yeah.
exclusive for this, and I like I love it. I love it. And I lived in Porto Alegre. So I lived also like going to Vacaria, going to Passo Fundo, Erechim. So got to know
Ah,
kinds of barbecues and I grew up. People think that because I lived in south of Brazil and I learned barbecue, but I learned from my mom because you had a little iron barbecue in our backyard, and
mm.
she used to barbecue Amazon fish. They are huge, so for the whole family, and she used to make it every Sunday for us. And then I learned how to play with the barbecue, and
Yeah.
she didn't want us to be around the fire. And then she would teach
Mm-hmm.
us some things. Oh, you cannot play with the fires, otherwise you are wetting your bed at night, so it's not for you. So this kind of things you want to keep you away from the
Yeah.
fire. But I was fascinated by, and then
Yeah.
I believe I met my big passion outside of work, that is fire and barbecue and be around the fire and having that kind of
Mhm.
conversation that we have, right? It's not just putting the heat,
Yeah.
no, it's the whole process of thinking about preparing, having the conversation, and setting the serving. It's so wonderful. I love it. So that was
And did you used to have a shimahan?
yes, I still have it here. I adopt all the customs,
Ah,
all
good.
the traditions from here in Sul State. Yeah, I have Shimahão, I still have here.
I didn't know your Gaúcha side.
I am. So, and I tell you, because I was born in north of Brazil and my parents migrated there. And then I got my first husband was is Gaúcho, and I learned lots of traditions. And then when I moved
Mm-hmm.
to Porto Alegre, I used to bring my chimarrão to school. I was doing a post
Mm-hmm.
degree in sports science, and then my colleagues would say, "How come you come from north of Brazil to the south of Brazil and you make chimarrão better than us?" I said, "Well, something I need to do to make myself be seen by you, right?" So
Yeah.
yeah, so people would talk, how come you come from north and you know how to make this? And I tell you, for us, when I suffered the biggest, let's say, I'm not giving the names, but I learned how to barbecue and just watching it from like the way you do guys in south of Brazil. And when I decide that I know how to make barbecue and I use barbecue at home, and I offered myself to do a barbecue in for the group that we had a gathering, and everyone looked me down and said, "What? Barbecue is not for women. And sorry, it's not for you." And they contracted
Ah,
to do the barbecue to make the barbecue for us. And I felt like I can make the barbecue. I love it. No, no, it's not for women. You stay there, it's for a man. And then I remember the guy came and I couldn't leave the barbecue. I was by his side watching him and giving order. Hey, this is not good. This is not good. So yeah.
yeah.
So my first encounter as you cannot make barbecue because you're a woman. I said, okay, I'm doing now.
And it's interesting now. It sounds so wrong, but it was just normal to say in a few years ago.
That's right.
But
And one thing is, we women play with fire in the kitchen because we cook.
yeah,
Outside of the kitchen, just men can play with fire? No, there's something wrong in there.
doesn't make sense.
no. So Anderson,
Yeah,
nice conversation, and ending up with barbecue. So I'm sure our barbecues, you cross at some point. You'll be making a barbecue.
yeah, we need to do it.
Yes, September is coming, so it's spring, so it's nice to have barbecue
Yeah, exactly.
outside. So thank you very much for your input and your perception of the struggles and the options that newcomers can have here in Australia when they go through things that they think that is not possible. So you showed that it's possible, and you took the risk, right, to apply what you know and using your skills and making money to pay your bills through your skills. So well done, well done.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Yes, and I'm sure I have seen you shining and your photographies everywhere because they are beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, for you that
Yeah.
was
And
watching,
all the best in your business as well.
oh, thank you. I'm just like back to
Yeah.
full time to my business, and I'm enjoying so much. And I have learned so much working for the government for the last 5 years, and especially doing better. That's the good thing. And
Yeah.
when you learn how to value yourself much more than you think, and that's a good point of life, learning about how you can contribute more than you think. So
And I'm sure you can help a lot of people to come and struggle a bit less than us that come without any advice.
right, so let's get people early and help them to succeed earlier too.
Yeah, exactly.
So Anderson, thank you very much for coming.
And I'm always here if you need any help.
Yes, thank you. So for you, if you are looking for a photographer to get a new portrait for your LinkedIn, for your business, or if you are getting married, or if you are running something special, Anderson is here. I will leave his business details inside of the description of this video. And thank you very much for watching, and see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sama, and thank you for watching, everyone. Cheers.
Bye-bye.